You may not, or hopefully you do know, that over the last couple years, every single video that has been uploaded to this channel has had at least one Amazon affiliate link in the description. That, when you click on it, it drops a cookie in your browser and allows me to not only get a commission from the purchases that you make for no cost to you, but it also allows me to see what you've bought. Now, I could probably do an episode on the kind of just weirdest things that people purchase with the link, but I think for the fact that this is a tech channel, I'm going to stick with the tech that you guys have bought, and we're going to run down the most popular individual bits of tech, as well as the brands that have done the best. I'm going to break them up into categories, but the first one I'm actually going to start with is monitors. These are ones that I've covered a fair bit on the channel, and kind of no surprise, the best value monitor that I can think of off the top of my head is the AOC G2460. Whether that's the PF or the older PQU model, both of those monitors were fantastic value for money, as they were 1080p and 144Hz, with the PF model adding FreeSync for no extra cost. And that's why it is by far the most popular monitor. It's sold, at least in the last year anyway, just in the last 12 calendar months, 23 units, although lifetime I think we're talking about a few hundred of them, so it's been fairly well selling from even a relatively small tech channel's perspective. Next up is, again, a great value for money, although in a slightly different price bracket, and this one is the LG 27UD68. Now there's a couple of variations. There's the UD68P and the UD68W, and I've kind of lumped them together because they're essentially the same monitor, just with a different stand, but either way, those 19 of those sold in the last 12 months, and that's again not too bad for a single product unit. And finally, back on the original value for money proposition, the Asus VG248Q and the QE, basically the same thing, lumped them together, sold 13 units in the last 12 months. So again, it seems like the best value for money products seem to be the best selling, which is kind of obvious if you think about it. In terms of laptops, it is hands down the Asus GL702. Now there is a couple slight variations. There's the VL and VS, but the VS is by far the most common, I think, with like 18 sales, but total there was 19, so I thought I'd throw in the VL as well. But either way, this is actually pretty impressive for laptops, again from a relatively small tech channel's perspective on a relatively restrictive Amazon linking system. Next up has to be the CPUs. This one is a pretty fun category, and I'm sure a lot of people will have their own comments about this, but before we go any further, leave a comment down below which CPU you think is going to be the most popular. Don't cheat, don't skip ahead a few seconds and find out until you've written your comment, but let me know which CPU you think it is, and of course you can then work out in a few seconds if you're right or not. Now the most popular CPU was actually the 7700K. There was only 8 sales, so it wasn't a massive margin, and by a massive margin I mean one CPU, because the AMD Ryzen 1600 had 7 sales, so very close. Obviously we're not talking high numbers here. As I said, the Amazon system is relatively restrictive and I'm just a small tech channel, but it's still pretty close. And if you're wondering where the 8700K came in, well, that came in 3rd place with 6, so again, very close. In terms of an AIO cooler to put on those chips, it is just, I couldn't believe how hands down it was, but it was the H100i from Corsair. There were 17 of those sold, so yeah, it looks like everyone who bought a CPU bought one of those coolers. It's just crazy. In terms of RAM, it is once again hands down Corsair Vengeance. This was, there's 21 sales total in varying configurations, obviously with 8 and 16 gig kits being the most popular. And there was even a Vengeance RGB kit sold too, but still a pretty high number compared to the 2s and 3s of everyone else. Now in terms of SSDs, this is pretty obvious if you know the market. It is the Samsung 850 EVO. There's 12 of these sold over the last 12 months in varying sizes. Bear in mind, I think the most common size was 250 or 500 gig. It was pretty close between them, with the 960 EVO actually coming in 2nd place overall in general with 8 sales, and then otherwise there was just 1 or 2 sales from people like Crucial and SanDisk. And finally, a notable kind of mention in the case world, the S340 from NZXT had 8 sales and was the most popular case overall, so that is kind of the case crown for this year. Now I could go on to talk about keyboards and mice and a few other categories that I haven't yet mentioned, but because those categories are so kind of, I guess, up to personal preference, there wasn't a clear winner in any of them, so I'm going to move on to the brand popularity and overall just which brands sold the most tech, at least through my affiliate link in the last 12 months. Now this is a hands down winner. Asus had 120 products sold here, and I think the total value of those products, at least retail value, is somewhere in the area of 50 to 70,000 pounds, depending on if you include a lot of the US sales as well. So it's kind of crazy. In terms of second place, it was actually relatively close with Corsair 110, but then the rest of this leaderboard just drops off, literally halving at Samsung with 46, almost exclusively SSDs by the way. Logitech with 38, again, kind of peripherals, keyboards and mice mostly, although there are a couple of headsets in there. MSI with 38, which is kind of not surprising considering the ubiquity of Asus's different product lines versus MSI's rather laser-like focus on PC components. Then you have AOC with, again, only monitors, but 36, and LG also with 36. Razer with 35, again, mostly on the peripheral side, although there were a couple of Razer blades sold, I believe, so that's always nice. Intel with 29, WD with 28 sales, Gigabyte with 27, Seagate with 24, and SteelSeries with 24 as well. Interesting there, WD beats out Seagate overall, although the Barracuda hard drive was the single most popular sold drive overall, so a bit of a trade-off in the HDD world. So Asus is the king of my Amazon affiliate links, with Corsair and Samsung coming in second and third place respectively. Is that what you expected? Did you expect someone else to be kind of ruling the roost here? Let me know in the comments down below who you expected to be better here, what products you expected to sell better or worse, and anything else in the comments down below. I would actually love to hear from you if you would like to see more of these style of videos. It's not one that I've done before, so if you'd like to see more of this, or even just on a sort of yearly basis or something like that, then let me know in the comments down below. And otherwise, that is pretty much that. If you want to be a part of this kind of experiment of watching me look through my Amazon affiliate links, then feel free to use them in the description down below. It genuinely does help me out and keeps me running these videos, so a massive thank you to everyone who does use them. You can also support me directly with Patreon. Again, there's a link in the description down below, or merch that I'm not currently wearing today, or anything else. There's a load of links down there too. If you're new to the channel, feel free to hit that subscribe button, and you can also check out the other videos over here if you fancy. And otherwise, that's pretty much it. Hope you enjoyed it, and we'll see you all in the next video.